in intellectual royalty. Why? Because India does not recognize intellectual royalty on the drug. It recognizes intellectual property on the process of manufacture. So, if you have manufactured something at say 65 degrees, I will file a plaint in court saying that I have actually manufactured the drug at 67 degrees and that makes it a new drug.
That's my subject, I know that.
That's your subject. So that gives, that completely defies all intellectual property law in pharmaceuticals in India. And this photocopying, this massive photocopying in the industry was so rampant. What happened was India about a decade ago was a good place for making the original, what you call it, the parent molecules. Absolutely. So, when you were busy fighting the Chinese in Ladakh, remember one of the biggest threats from the Chinese in Ladakh was not the few square kilometers of barren land. One of the biggest threats was that India would have been starved of paracetamol, because the entire paracetamol product came from China.
Absolutely.
Right. So, if China wins today, your pharmaceutical industry will probably come to its knees, right? Because China, that India gave up its manufacturing of the mother molecules, and that entire industry was swallowed up by China, and we became the bootlegged photocopiers of the world. So, next time you go on to take a fight in Ladakh, please remember, have enough stock of
paracetamol first.
Stock up paracetamol first.
Okay. Next time you fight China, stock up on paracetamol, stock up on ivermectin, stock up on anti-malarial drugs, so many other things. So, Sandip, tell me, you've been through the book extensively, you're one of the contributors. Neurosurgery, cardiac surgery, these islands of excellence can happen in India. We've heard about AIMS, the Christian Medical College, so many others. But why is it that these do not appear to be replicable? They don't appear to have, we don't appear to have a model where we have internationally replicable models, Indian hospitals overseas, which are beacons of hope in that country. So many patients come to us, why don't we go and set up there? Is it something to do with our business environment? Is it something to do, both of them?
No, I don't think, my reaction to that is, look, you see, medicine is still not driven by AI, processes are important, Excel sheets are important, but at the end of the day, you will still need two idiots like you and myself and Sandip to go and do the job. It's like, we have Mr. Mitra there, is like a good lawyer, So, probably all his arguments can be logically paraphrased in artificial intelligence, but it will still need a very good lawyer to go up and make a robust presentation of the case. So, I think medicine still has a defined human component to it that is very important. One case and example is, you look at Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, who opened up their billion-dollar facilities in the Middle East, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, etc., etc. They're all great Bollywood flops. Nothing happens over there. Their people still come to Mumbai, Delhi, and the rest of it for treatment. So there is still a human component. But coming to the next part of the question, yes, we are not lacking in talent numerically, but I don't think we have that depth of talent yet. Why don't we have that depth of talent? Because today India has about 10 lakh doctors, slightly less than 10 lakhs, right? Less than 20% of the 10 lakh people in medicine are in any kind of structured employment. 80% of India's doctors live from hand to mouth, right? If they're sick for 3 days, earnings gone, right? So, we are considered to be God. This is a God who is rather penniless, So, all these glamour stories here about medicine does not apply to 98% of the professional population. So, infrastructure and predictability has to come to the profession. If we do that, then we are going to have more talent nurtured, we are going to have more predictability in their professional lives, and I think situation will improve. But don't you go on telling people to set up shops here and there, you know.
No,
Because
Sandip, your comment on this.
I see Mr. Joyanto Mitra sitting in the audience and smiling. I'll take a cue from him to answer your question. He smiles a lot more now than when he was Advocate General of West Bengal. He had a car with a flashing blue light, police, outriders and everything else. But he smiles more now, and you know the answer to the reason why? Autonomy. And I think that's the reason why doctors, you say, why are there no more centers of excellence? It's the one single word that I would use is autonomy. See, what happens to a doctor when he becomes a doctor? He has to work somewhere. And assuming he doesn't belong to the wildebeest that migrate across the Mara, he has to find a gainful place to earn a living in this country. Yeah, what are his two major choices? He joins a government hospital or he joins a corporate hospital. And I say this with telling you that Kunal works in a corporate hospital, but he has complete autonomy in his own department for reasons that you may or may not know. So he's not one of the corporatized doctors that I'm going to refer to now. What happens if you join the government sector? Well, it depends whether you're the blue-eyed boy or the hated boy of the political party in power. And that doesn't depend on how many gold medals you got or how many publications you have, how brilliant a surgeon you are, how brilliant your results are. It depends how often you go to the cathedral of power in the political scenario in your city or state, which may be in Alibuddin Street or maybe in Kalighat or may oscillate between one and the other or go somewhere else. So your credentials, your ability to go up, your ability to function within the government sector as a doctor depends on how you please your political bosses. It does not matter on your surgical skill, it does not matter on your publications, it does not matter on what respect you command in the country or the world in your specialty. And therefore, to remain in that position and to rise, your primary objective is to be subservient to a political master. Scientific research, achievement of academic or medical excellence naturally falls into second and third place. If, on the other hand, you opt to go join the corporate sector, fantastic, you get a lot of recognition, you might have a lot of your photograph in different Selval boards and newspapers from time to time. You get an opportunity to earn a lot of money. You may not get that many patients initially, but majority of the people who run corporate sector hospitals regards doctors as playing the same role in the hospital as the security guards. An unfortunate necessity, but one that can be dispensed with at any moment of time. And somebody who should ideally not have any individual recognition, but be recognized as a doctor in hospital X, like a security guard in hospital X. So where is your then incentive to go after scientific excellence? Again, your only incentive to rise is if you can generate enough funds, and that generation of funds can mean a compromise on your academic decision, your scientific spirit, or even, I dare say this publicly, your ethical standards. So these are your two options. And this is something that we have to realize. And this is the reason why, with very few exceptions, you do not have people.
So I think, Sandip, as you
and I may be cynical, but this is my view.
No, but you've been eloquently cynical or cynically eloquent. Put it either way. But I think this drives us to the point that we really need a kind of matrix, a policy, a given statement.
Absolutely.
that is how healthcare is going to be dispensed to the people. Right.
A national policy.
A national policy.
Not a state.
Right. So in the same way, the energy that we have in politics today, look at this, you can calculate the last 10 votes which happens in a booth, who has gone this way, etc. Today we are thirsty to know the Sero survey data from every district in West Bengal. I do not have that in front of me. Right. So whether it is in public healthcare or in healthcare policy, the raw political energy that India has shown in its 73 years, absolutely, without any reservation in the political domain, the political energy of India now has to be energized into the social sector, and medicine has to be one of the sectors. We definitely need a cogent policy between the center and the states. Healthcare cannot be left within two stools. And I think it has to be a demand from the civic society that we cannot be living this schizophrenic life day in and day out. We need to know this bipolarity that Sandip has just depicted in front of you. Why should we have this bipolarity? So let us have a system by which the 30 states, the 3 lakh square kilometers of this country, the 1.3 billion people can say that, look, we know the way we are going. You can have a GST, you can have a fiscal policy, you can have we are aiming for one country, one election, but we are not aiming for one country, one healthcare.
Absolutely. And Kunal, you will agree with me, I think the biggest evidence of how a lack of a nationally controlled health service can affect you is on both sides of the Atlantic. And for somebody like me who's worked on both sides of the Atlantic, there is no question today that the best in medicine in many ways is in the United States of America.
Well, I think we leave it to the journalists.
Yeah, no, but you see, the point I'm making is the best today in various healthcare specialties may be in the United States of America. But the average healthcare in the United Kingdom is still way superior to the average healthcare in North America. Way superior.
No, you don't have to walk that far. Look at public health in Pakistan. Yeah. Look at public health in Bangladesh. Look at what's happening, don't just go to Thailand for a massage. Look at their healthcare system. The whole of Southeast Asia put together had less fatalities in COVID than even the state of Kerala, right? So look at the power which is manifesting at our doorstep. This is a social revolution in process. Why should we be left out of it?
Well, this book has been, has been such a great read, and I congratulate Kunal on this because it's deeply comforting in many ways. There are chapters which recount the excellence attained by the Indian healthcare sector in neurosurgery, in cardiac surgery, in other aspects of healthcare. And at the same time, so disturbing, the lack of a policy, the lack of any sort of original research when it comes to pharmaceuticals, the fact that the government would like not only to tread on your toes, but actually crush them into the ground so that you stay in line. So comforting and disturbing at the same time, well worth a read. Don't get intimidated by its 400 plus pages. And we look forward to the second edition of your book and Sandip, your first book. So till then, I think we've spent a lot of time, and I thank you for your patience. We'll wind up this session, and I hope you enjoyed. This recording will be made available to all members, and I'm sure that you'll watch it at a later date as well. Thank you and good night. Stay safe, and we're going to put back our masks again. I would advise you to do the same. Remember, switch on your mobiles now. You don't need to miss your call from home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done.